Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Trading, guys. I'm Ryan Mack. Today I'm going to be flying through the fundamentals. I don't have time to run through the chart markups. I will do it later. Straight after this call, I've got another meeting for something else, so I have to make this quick as it's 11:15 here now. Yeah, 11:15 here now, and my meeting is at 12. It's an online meeting, so I need to be pretty quick, all right? Excuse me, just some updates for you. We have just opened up a brand new office, studio, podcast place, the whole shebang. It's been decorated right now. We've got quite a lot of things that have arrived, the couches, the sofa. We've got the microphones to come. We've got the headsets to come. I have just bought a huge 60 or 65 inch interactive touchscreen Samsung TV, which is absolutely phenomenal for providing you guys tons upon tons of education for free as well on YouTube and everything. All right, I'll smash out tons of reels. I'll smash out tons of full length videos, 40 minutes to an hour, and so on and so forth. So we've got all that coming up. I just need to wait. We've still got the decorators in doing the place up. We're still waiting on the wallpaper that's coming from Belgium or some shit apparently. So we'll have to wait 2 weeks for that. But once that's done, I think let's just say 3 weeks from now, I should have everything set up and ready to go. I might do some videos across there, just to check it out and try it out on the interactive TV screen. It's phenomenal. I mean, I've played around with it already. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, you've got that coming up, guys. I'm going to be, taking things to the next step. You might say to yourself, because it's a common question, well, why, if you're making money from the markets, why are you doing free education? It is a good question. We don't only do free education. I do also have a Discord group with my business partners, Lee, who's a scalp trader. I'm a swing trader, and my business partner, Ian, who deals with all the back end of the business side of things. So we do have the paid version of it. So the reason why I also do free stuff, it's people will say, well, that can then drag people across into the paying thing. That is true. That can be a possibility as well, but it's not actually the main reason why I do it, believe it or not. 12 years ago, don't know if you know, I was pretty much homeless. I wasn't homeless as in sleeping on the streets. That was only because I had, friends and family members who were willing for me to sleep on their fucking couch, and then, I'd spend a couple of days here, a couple of days there, a week here, a week there, and so on and so forth. But apart from that, I went from being in a very good position in my life, 10 grand a month working as a private bodyguard in Afghanistan and Iraq. Had an Audi TT, had a 5-bedroom fucking house, the whole shebang, everything was great. And then loads of shit happened where my life just became a fucking disaster. I ended up with nothing. Cars taken off me, out of the house, home taken off me, and I was fucking penniless, guys. And that's no word of a lie. Anyone who knows me, knows that that's a true fucking story. And basically someone gave me a fucking chance one time, and they took me into their company as a business development manager, which was in a trading firm. We became mates, and after about 18 months, the guy was like, do you want to learn how to trade? And I was like, fucking right. He then taught me how to trade, and I've just never, ever, ever forgotten that those people, that company, there's quite a few guys, not just one guy, but quite a few guys, basically gave me an opportunity when I was on my fucking arse, and nobody else would give me an opportunity. So it's one of the reasons why I always like to now give back, because I've never forgotten that part of my life when I was just like hunting for opportunities. Every single door that I chat was being closed in my face. I was like, fucking come on, I was like, I know if somebody just gives me the chance and teaches me, I'll fucking put 100% effort into this. I just don't have the money to buy a fucking 5 grand course here, 250 quid course there, a 2 grand course here. I just didn't have the fucking money. But I knew if somebody would teach me, then I would be willing to put the effort in, okay? So I'm going to be posting tons of free education. I do not give a shit whether you use it or not, guys. The point is, the more that I post that can genuinely help people, you will find that maybe out of 500 to 1,000 people, there will be 4 or 5 people that actually take action, and it will help that 4 to 5 people, right? And that's why I'm doing it. If it helps even one person in the next 2 years, happy fucking days. I've achieved the goal of helping someone else who was in a bad spot, and they wanted to, and they were willing to work themselves out of it, right? So this is why I'm doing it, okay? Without further ado, hey, let's move on. Let's get this fucking show on the road. So, if you are new, this is your first time watching this maybe, where, excuse me, I am doing my best not to cough all the time. I know it's a pain in the arse, but I'm not sick or anything. I just live in Jakarta, and it is polluted as fuck. So, trades strong. I'm going to show you this in a second. Weak, neutral. So if we have a look here, guys, what I do every single week, week in, week out, is I write trades, strong, weak, and neutral. Now the strong, weak, and neutral relates to, you could say, currency strengths or economy strengths, right? Because the strength of an economy determines the strength of the currency, right? And I write it in order strong, weak, and neutral. Again, if you're one of my regulars, you know why that is. If you are brand new to the channel, the reason why I don't do strong, neutral, and then weak, which is logical, I know, is because what we do is we find out which economies are strong, which economies are weak, which ones are neutral, by looking at fundamental data. What we then do is we then cross out the neutral because we don't care, and we then look to trade a strong economy, i.e. a strong currency, with a weak economy, a weak currency, right? E-currency, a weak currency. And that's basically how we do it, guys, okay? Now, for information, everybody knows what Forex Factory is, okay? For information, Forex Factory is actually pretty dog shit, okay? This one is the best at trading economics. If you look at news somewhere, let's see if I can update this. Right, how many have we got here? 1, 2, 3. So look at Forex Factory. 2. Look, you've got 2. I mean, that one's not even on it, is it? Let's look for another one. Let's just see. GBP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of information. Let's see how much we have on Forex Factory. Let me just 2 seconds. Let's see what we've got. I wasn't even on the right date there. Sometimes it takes ages. Come on. Apply filters. There we go. Update. This week, here we go. So look, GBP 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 4 pieces of information here on the pound. You come across the trade and economics. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of information, and the information comes out 1,000,000 times faster on trade and economics than it does on Forex Factory. Okay, but why I use Forex Factory for doing these reviews, it's very, very easy to go like this and select the pairs that you want to review, right? Whereas this one is a pain in the dick. Look, you know, you spend all day jumping here, there, and everywhere trying to catch them all. Okay, so that's the reason why I use this. Now, moving on, what I do is I do each pair individually, apart from Aussie, China, and New Zealand. It's because they're all very closely correlated. I'm not going to get too much into why all that is. I've done it in 100 million videos. We're just going to review this and crack on, okay? I will be posting really, really in-depth videos when I get over to my studio, and I make some really good education videos for you guys, and we will cover each thing individually, right? The ones that are important, the ones that we don't care about, we just bin them off because they're just white noise, essentially, right? They're just there as a distraction. They don't really have an effect on the market. So here we go. New Zealand, oh, in fact, we want to see last week, don't we? We want to see last week's data. So, New Zealand economy as a whole, right, is really fucking weak. But we are seeing some good numbers here. Look, strong, bullish, bullish, bullish. We are seeing some good numbers, but you wouldn't really put that into strong just now. Now, trading is a little bit kind of wishy-washy. There's a lot of context, and there's like a big overview you have to look at. Yes, these numbers here are strong. They are bullish numbers. They're really, really good numbers. So what that might do, it might provide short-term bullish momentum within the New Zealand economy, right? So you might look at NZD USD right now, and it's coming up, and you're like, wow, I should buy that. But overall, it's not a buy. Yes, you could buy it in terms of value, in terms of this intermediate bullish news. By all means, if you are a scalp trader, if you are a short-term trader, like a day trader, where you're going to enter this in the morning and you're going to close the buy in 1 hour, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever, of course you can buy it all day long, right? All day long. I'm not saying you can't, but obviously for my method of trading, I'm a swing trader, long-term holder, so I will look for areas of value on the weekly time frame. Okay, so I'm more of a bigger picture guy. I take very small risk, and I let trades run for weeks and weeks and weeks. Sometimes it takes weeks for us to actually enter a trade because there's just nothing happening. You get periods of deflation in the market, periods of inflation going up the way in the market, but you also get periods of what's called stagflation, which just goes like this, right? It's essentially just a range, right? The markets are just ranging, and you will see since literally November last year, you know, when we had the elections and all that, markets have just been fucking ranging and really shit, and we're in a lot of currencies slash economies, we're just entering these periods of stagflation, especially like the Canadian dollar, right? Like we had like 3 weeks of good news, a couple of weeks of bad news, then we'll get a couple of weeks of good news. That's just stagflation. It's not that it's strong one time, then it's weak, then it's strong, then it's weak. It's not that. I mean, overall it's dog shit, but it's getting this kind of. You get the macro and you get the micro, right? You get the weekly time frames, you get the smaller time frames of 5 minutes, 50 minutes, so on, right? And you also get that in terms of market cycles. So markets will cycle and you know, for 3, 4, 5, 6 months at a time on deflation. Other pairs will be going through their inflation cycle at the same time this pair is going through its deflation cycle. And then you'll have pairs that are kind of at this, you know, at this lump here or at this curve here, where it's just a period of stagflation, okay? So that's why these things occur. It's perfectly normal. So please bear in mind when you're watching my videos and I'm like, yeah, you would never fucking buy NZD in a million years. Please remember the context of me saying that. I'm talking about the big picture. I mean, I would not buy NZD USD right now and hold it for the next fucking 3 months, right? The next 12 weeks, okay? If you are a scalper or a day trader, by all means, if you want to fucking buy, you know, something like NZD USD, for example, fucking crack on, be my guest, buy it, but obviously, you know, close in your own time based on your own strategy, right? I don't ever tell people my strategy is the best. There's 100,000 ways where you can be profitable and you can make money from the markets. This is just simply my way that works. I'm going to show you if anyone wants to copy it. You can be my guest, guys, and fucking crack on and use it, alright? So, cracking on. Retail sales quarter on quarter, positive, bullish. Aussie, it's the same, it's stagnant. It was they had forecasted to be higher, but it's the same. So when it's the same, it's just sticky, right? It's not negative or it's not bullish, or it's not negative or positive. It's not bullish or bearish. It's just stagnant, right? Stagflation. Construction work done, negative. That's bearish. Bean index, NZD business confidence. That's pretty bullish. 58.4. Private capital expenditure is very bearish for the AUD. Private sector credit, bearish. Manufacturing is bullish and bullish. Now, anything above 50 is, when it comes to manufacturing PMI and services PMI, anything above 50 is bullish, anything below 50 is bearish, okay? So even if it's 49.9, that's bearish, okay? When it's 50, that's bullish. So it's looking good for China now. What does that show us? So for China, that's actually what we can predict from that is if China continues to do well, not just from these numbers here, but if China continues to do well and becomes more bullish and bullish, the Aussie dollar will then start to pick up and do well and become more bullish, okay? So when it comes to China, China and Aussie dollar are what's called positively correlated. When China does well, the AUD will do well. I'm not going to explain why. I've done it in 100 videos and I will do it in more videos in the future. This is just a quick run through. When China is not doing well, AUD is not doing well, okay? AUD and USD are what's called negative correlation. So when the USD is doing well, AUD will be going down and not doing well. When USD is going down, AUD will be going up. So they're negatively correlated, right? They run in parallel with each other. They run in opposite to each other, sorry. Okay, let's see what news we've got for next week. What did I have them down as? Yeah, still had that this week, okay. NZD bullish again. But this is the thing, it doesn't, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be saying that NZD is massively bullish right now. In the micro, yes, in the daily. So potentially this week I could be looking for bullish moves, but I would, like I said, I wouldn't be entering a trade, and holding it for the next 3 months based on any of this data. All right, not just yet. Bullish for the AUD company operating products, but it's not one we care about. Cakes and manufacturing, China, that's bullish again, fantastic. So I'm still going to keep. So NZD, right? I'm going to explain this. The NZD for me is still weak, just because it's had, 2 weeks of good numbers doesn't instantly make it good, right? So I'm still keeping NZD at weak. However, remember in your heads, that's weak over the bigger picture of things, okay? If you are an intraday trader or scalper, NZD could possibly be strong for you this week. Let me just show you what I mean on the charts, right? NZD USD. So, look, that's textbook, right? Could you buy from here? Absolutely, because it's an area of value. You might get negative news from the USD and the NZD has good news and it starts coming up. You might, okay? I just wouldn't buy it because overall, the United States economy blows the New Zealand economy completely out the fucking water, right? It doesn't stand a chance. So what I'm waiting for is I can't sell from here because there's no value from here to here. You're selling straight into a major area of support, right? So I can't sell it. I need to wait for it to either break here, come back up and retest, reject here, then I'll enter the sell from there because that's fine because the previous support, once broken, becomes new resistance, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm waiting for this to come all the way back up here, retest and reject this zone, and then melt. Okay, so this would be my entry, or even better still, this would be my entry, but that's highly unlikely, okay? What's the most unlikely in the current scenario? I'd probably say break here, retest the low, and then go. This is probably the most likely, but anything can happen in the markets, right? So let's wait and see. So this is why I'm saying, guys, look, you've got all this positive news from the NZD, but look, it's still going fucking bearish, right? Because overall, it isn't a strong economy, okay? And there's loads of other factors here to take into account, like the central bank rate's 375, USD's 450, and blah, 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 okay? So that's why. I've got NZD, I'm still keeping it as weak. You could put it as strong if you like, but I wouldn't recommend it. AUD, I'm keeping it as neutral, even though the numbers weren't so good because we've had a little bit of good news, bad news, good news, bad news. I'm keeping it in neutral. And of course, the Chinese currency, we don't trade China, so we don't have to mark that down, okay? But later on this week, what else have we got? We've got retail sales, yep, we want to see that. Current account, GDP, yep, quarter on quarter. Cakes and services, yep, we want to see that. Good trades balance, yes. Trade balance, yeah. So okay, so we've got a lot of news this week that we want to see for the Aussie dollar and NZD. Okay. now we can move on quicker because we're just doing one pair at a time. Last week, Canada, we've got some decent news there. That's bullish, bearish, and stagnant. So it's not very strong whatsoever. I'm going to keep that in neutral, as it was, because the Canadian dollar is just purely in stagflation. You get some good news, bad news, good news, bad news. It's just stagnant. I'll show you right now. Hold on, because a picture paints 1,000 words, right? So let's say we've got this, right? This is your macro. This is like each, this is like over the space of 12 months, if you like, right? We've got the macro. Within the macro, you've got the micro, right? And so on, and it goes all the way up, right? It goes all the way, it just keeps doing this. So this is like your monthly, this big one like this is like your, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 month, 6 month, 7 month, 8 month. You get the picture, right? This is like within that month, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, But right now, Canada's here. Canada's just like this. Canada's good news, bad news, good news, bad news, but nothing's moving. Why? Because the economy overall is shit, right? So they're in this period of stagflation. Then we've got periods of inflation, and we've got periods of deflation, periods of stagflation, periods of inflation, and so on and so forth, all right? The market just continues to move. So as you have, as you have movements, fundamentally, you also have movements as in market cycles, okay? And that's some of the things that have a major effect. So this week, we've got a lot of good news I want to see. We've got manufacturing later today. We've got trade balance, IVPMI, employment change, unemployment rate, and so on. So, yep, for me, Canada is still neutral, okay? Rapidly moving on. CHF for me is always neutral. I mean, I don't even have to go over it. The reasons for that is CHF is to trade it, you need to be trading risk on, risk off, right? It's not really based on, I don't want to say it's not based on the economy because it kind of is, but it's more so risk on, risk off sentiment. I'm not going to cover that. I've covered it in previous videos and it takes too long. Yeah, pretty bog standard news. There's nothing great there, right? And there's nothing really exciting that we want to see this week because it's always the same shit. So for me, CHF remains neutral. Moving on, Euro. Last week. So I'm just going to fly through this. Bearish, stagnant, still minus, so it's still bearish, stagnant, bearish, Spanish, so we don't give a shit, doesn't have any effect in the markets. Money supply, a little bit bullish, but it's still worse than anticipated, but it is better than previously, so that's okay. It's bullish. Private loans, bullish, bearish, bullish, but as expected, lower than expected, as expected. It's not really strong. Bearish, right there. Yep, bearish, stagnant, bearish. General unemployment, that's bullish, and that's bearish, right? So again, Euro is just stagnant for me. You could make it anywhere between weak and neutral. Excuse me. I'm keeping it weak because if we look at manufacturing, etc., it's all below 50. It's all dog shit. So for me, Euro is staying in weak. Okay, and you can see how quickly we can get through this when we just move on. What have we got? We've got tons of news later on this week we want to see. Actually, later on today, we've got PMIs and so on and so forth. So that's great. And I believe this week is also going to be NFP week, right? So remember, markets are always spicy during NFP week. Especially, obviously, USD pairs. Last week, let's have a quick look. CBI realized sales, bearish. So what? Why is it no? Oh yeah, there was really nothing there. Slightly bullish. Okay, that was pretty shit. Let's see what we've got this week. Yeah, what did I have pound as? I think I had pound as neutral, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Neutral. I'm going to keep it in neutral until we start seeing some really good, strong numbers. Final services PMI last time were 51.1, good, but the construction PMI is bearish. That was bearish, bullish, you know, all from last week. So let's see. But for me, pound is still neutral right now. Again, it's just really stagnant. There's nothing we can really do about that. We just need to bide our time and wait, right? As you saw with copper, we entered copper. I'll just show you right now. We were biding our time for copper. We entered copper around here. We closed it around here. And it's now pulling back down. I suspect copper is probably, I'm going to clean this up. I suspect copper's going to come down and retest this zone here. Boom, then we're going to enter, and then we're going to ride it back up. But in copper, we caught 31,000 points, which is 3,100 pips, just by biding your time. Now, if you think about it, if you're a scalp trader or you are a day trader, right, think about this. Think about how many trades you've taken since November up until 2 weeks ago, February, right? See if you added up every single trade you took in that time period. Does that come to 3,100 pips? I highly fucking doubt that it does, right? And this is why I do this, because my method is stress-free, low risk, and high returns. If you get stopped out and the trade just goes against you, who gives a shit? You've only risked a tiny amount, so it doesn't even bother you, right? If you have, and then you enter it and you let it run, you have a winning trade, then you're going to have a much, much bigger return. I could have like 8 to 10 losing trades in a row, and I only need one trade to bring it all back, and my trading is completely stress-free, right? So like I said, it depends on your character. It depends on your type of personality and everything, right? Which way you want to trade. It's entirely up to you. You know, I'm not going to tell you to trade like me because you have a different personality to me. So you are the one who really needs to go down the rabbit hole yourself, and you need to see what kind of personality you have, what kind of character you have, what's your daily working routine like. You know, are you able to sit here all day and scalp? Or do you want to place a trade and come back 2 weeks later because you're working on an oil rig, so you don't have time to be fucking around? You know, you need to see what works best for you, your character, your lifestyle, your emotional control, your risk appetite, and so your level of patience. You know, there's many things that you need to decide by yourself. Okay, guys. So, Japanese yen SPPI year on year, bullish, bullish, bearish, bearish, bullish. Bearish. Okay, so it's very mixed data for Japanese yen. I'm going to keep it neutral. Yes, we are seeing much better data coming from the Japanese yen right now. We are, you know, in terms of quite a few things here, but it's just still not enough to get it out of the fucking hurt locker, right? Look, this is still, look, bearish again, still bearish. Yes, things are getting slightly better, but it's very, very slow. You know, they're literally, it's like working in a coal mine and your little train stops and you need to crawl your way out. Yes, you're going to make progress by crawling to get fucking out, but it's graft, you know. It's going to take a long time. It's not an overnight cure, okay? So for me, Japanese yen is still shit. I'm going to put it in neutral though and not quite weak, all right? Because we are starting to see okay numbers. But it's by no means strong. This week we've got some decent news we want to see, so let's check that. And last but by no means least, let's just check USD. Last week, I'm just going to fly through it. Bullish, stagnant but bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, we don't care. Stagnant. Anything that's stagnant is still labelled as strong though, right? Because it's not weak, but it's also not extremely bullish. Bearish, bearish, bullish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, right? You can see very, very mixed data. However, when we look at the grand scale of things, right, the grand scheme of things, I should say, and we now look at all the countries around the world that have invested in the US, it's unreal. So even though they've invested that money now, that bullishness is going to come a little bit later on, right? So you know that USD bulls are going to come back. Japan has invested $1 trillion into the USA, sorry. Saudi has invested, I think it's 670 billion. And so there's loads of other countries that have, there's about 6 or 7 of them that have invested hundreds of billions into the USD. Now, when you keep that in your mind, you know later on, USD bull markets are coming because they will all have an effect on the markets, right? I mean, it's still strong just now, but look, let's have a look. PMI, etc. was still above 50, still bullish, but I've got loads of news we want to see this week, and yes, it's NFP week, it's non-farm payroll week, okay? So stay frosty, stay sharp. For me, USD, I'm still going to keep it in strong, guys, even though we've had some kind of weak data last week. It's still the only strong one for me. So looking at this again, strong USD. I only have one economy right now, which is strong. Weak NZD and Euro, okay? Neutral AUD, CAD, CHF, GBP, and JPY. Okay, that's AUD, CAD, CHF, GBP, and JPY. Now, just before we wrap up, can you trade a weak economy with a neutral economy or a strong economy against the neutral? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. It's just that you don't get that strong trend, right? You get a kind of to me, to you, to me, to you. You know, the Chuckle Brothers, a bit of fucking a bit of rangy and all that, and I just can't be arsed with it. Excuse me. It's just part of my strategy. I do fund trades which are in line with a strong economy, i.e. strong currency, against a weak economy / currency. In line with the trend, so NZD USD would be a perfect example. Even though you might see that coming up just now, I would not touch it. I would not be taking buys in NZD USD. I would simply wait for it to come up for the retest. Then I'd be entering sales, and away it goes, right? So that's what I'd be waiting for. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. There's nothing more to share. Like I said, we've got some really, really good stuff coming up. I will be pumping out fucking tons of educational content. I will even be doing live trading. So, you know, if I'm doing content over at the new studio and office, and it just so happens that a trade has popped up and it's hit my area, I will trade that live, okay, so that you guys can see it. All right, and you can copy my trade or whatever if you wish. Okay, if you just wish to try out my method, I highly recommend that you try it out on a demo account, not on your live account, because you're going to have to get used to it first, right? And I don't want it affecting your money until you've got the confidence in the strategy via practicing it and see it playing out time and time again. And then you can then later on move on to trading on your live accounts if you so wish to. All right, I'm Ryan Mack. Welcome to trading, guys. Thanks very much. Have a great week. Be safe. Don't over risk. Don't over trade. Don't get excited during a winning trade, and don't get depressed during a losing trade. Okay, you have to be neutral. I had a losing trade. Who gives a fuck? I've had a winning trade. Who gives a fuck? You just have to be the same each way. Okay, you have to be extremely neutral. Much love. See you soon. Bye bye.